Greetings, YouTube. My friend Jan proposed an idea to me not long ago, and fortunately he caught me at a grumpy day, so I didn't react in the most pleasant manner. But he did plant the seed of an idea in my head, and that idea has gestated and turned into this video. So here's the premise. You, the person watching this video in the real world, are going to acquire 10, kind of 10 spells. We're going to use them from the Pathfinder system. And I picked mine from the Wizards list simply because there are a lot of different spellcaster lists in the Pathfinder system, and I didn't feel like going through all of them. And a lot of the spell descriptions are available to multiple classes, so there's a lot of overlap there. So I just looked at one spell list. There may be spells I missed because of this, but these are the list. This is the list I'm basing my list on. That's a strange sentence, but regardless. So you're going to get 10 spells, 1 of each level. So 0, a cantrip or an orison, up through 9. There is a caveat, however. The spell must have a duration, and you're only going to be able to cast the spell once. But the duration is going to change to unlimited. So for you, the spell that you cast will never end. So choose them wisely, because you're only going to get to do it once. So I looked at the list. Now some spells have a dual duration. For example, it may say X number of rounds per spell level concentration, which means that while the spell is running for that many rounds, it's only going to function if you're concentrating. And those spells will just kind of hang in the background if you have those on an unlimited duration. They're not going to do anything unless you're actually actively thinking about them. Some are just passive spells completely. You don't have to worry about those at all. But some also, for like telekinesis, that one lets you move things around under sustained force, but you could also kind of dispel it instantaneously by making it a push, like a violent thrust. You wouldn't be able to use that latter power. You cannot dismiss the spell, ever. But you could use the sustained force aspect of the spell for an unlimited duration. So you have to kind of take those things into account. And since you're going to get all these spells at once, so look at the list carefully. Don't just start working from 0 up through 9th. Look at the list comprehensively, because there may be spells of a higher level that kind of overlap with lower level ones, which can give you an option of choosing a different lower level one, even though a lower level spell, like, oh, that's really cool, a higher level spell may have some overlap. I'll actually get into my list, because that actually has one there that does that in and of itself. So I'm going to check my list out now. Here we go. So the first one I'm going to choose, the 0 level spell, the cantrip, is going to be Mage Hand. Because Mage Hand is actually one of the few cantrips that has a duration. Most cantrips are instantaneous or permanent. Instantaneous, I think. Most of them last like an hour, you know what I mean? So, and they're gone. They're just very low level spells. So I'm choosing Mage Hand, not only because it has a duration, but because it's wicked cool. Sure, it's only got a 15-foot range and only a 5-pound limit, but you can pick up a remote from across the room and put it into your hand. You can do parlor tricks. You can win bar bets. You could become a stage musician with just that spell. It's a very cool spell, and it is very much, you have the force powers. Just very cool. 2, the second spell, which will be Featherfall, first level. Now this is Jan's idea, because he had originally thought it would be a good spell, and I agree with him. Featherfall is good because it's passive. It functions even when you're unconscious. And I personally, in the real world, have a deep and abiding fear of falling. Not of heights. I've been at the top of the CN Tower in Toronto, looking straight down for a mile. No fear, because I knew I couldn't fall. But you put me on a chair because I have to change a light bulb, and I'm nervous. I have fear of falling. Well, technically I have a fear of the abrupt stop at the end. The falling part I have no idea if I don't like or not. But it's the ending part. The sudden deceleration syndrome? Yeah, that's the part I don't like. So a Featherfall spell would mean I would never ever have to worry about that. And that right there is cool. Second level spell, Dark Vision. Now this is the second level version. There's a higher level version which I wouldn't be taking, but the second level version is 60 feet, and that is enough in my book. 60 feet when I have no dark vision at all at the moment is going to be a massive improvement. Now, years ago, back before I was diagnosed with diabetes, I had excellent night vision. Seriously good night vision. I could see the very, very subtle things in the dark. I would walk around my house regularly with no lights on at all and would never have a problem with trying to figure out where I was or what I was bumping into or not bumping into because I had good night vision. Unfortunately, because I suffer from retinopathy, bleeding of the retinas, I had to have laser surgery done. And in the process of having laser surgery done, my doctor who saved my vision pretty much burned out my night vision. It's pretty much gone, which is horrible because I miss it. So if I were suddenly to be able to have dark vision, that would be a real godsend. Number 3, I'm going to pick tongues. And this is better than comprehend languages, which is a first level spell, which is also an option. But tongues allows you to cover any spell, any language there is, which is just too darn cool. You can only speak one at a time, but that just shows you come across as a person that's paying attention to a single individual and giving them your attention and concern and such. So that right there is just fine. It's cool. That's great. Makes you look reasonable. And you can speak any language there is. Anyone that has a language. That's awesome. 4th level, Arcane Eye. Now, Arcane Eye is cool because it allows you to do real-time recon, in the sense that it's an invisible eye, so no one can see it, and you just kind of close your eyes and you concentrate, and you can make it move around in places anywhere you want to go. Now, it's about an inch in diameter. It has a physical presence. So you can't just phase through walls, but you can get through openings that don't let anything an inch in diameter get through. And that's a lot of places you can get this through. You can easily get it into a room as long as you're following someone who's walking through a door or something like that, or through a window, through a chimney. Chimneys would be excellent entry points because a lot of the times the flues are open and they're just shafts right from the sky. You know what I mean? Yes, kid. I just don't want you sitting where there, because you may step on the. Okay, you didn't. You may step on the space bar. If you step on the space bar, it ends the video. Should figure out how to stop that feature. But Arcane Eye is just a cool spell. It really is. And it lets you look in places you can't normally look, and you're never gonna have to worry about being spotted because the eye is invisible, and in the real world, no one can see invisible things. Okay, number 5, Life Bubble. Now, Life Bubble is better than Endure Elements, but Endure Elements is the first aspect of this spell that I love to death. That covers -50 to 140 degrees 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a range that I have never been outside of. I've hit -40, and I've hit 105 or 106, something like that, in the real world. But I've never been outside -50 to 140, which means I will never, ever have to worry about being physically uncomfortable with the temperature again. I mean, I'm filming this video at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday because it's been so hot in the last couple of days that I can't film in the afternoon. It's too hot in this room, so I'm hidden in my bedroom, which is the only room that's got an AC in it, with my Chromebook. But that is the aspect of this spell that is just so cool. And this is where I was talking about a high-level spell that overlaps and surpasses a lower-level spell. Enduring Elements is only first level, but this is 5th. But Life Bubble does much more than just Endure Elements. It gives you a protective barrier against particulates. So spells that are like gas-based, you're immune to. Regular smoke, you're immune to. Probably you're even immune to cigarette smoke, which would be worth a 5th level spell in and of itself. People that smoke around everyone and other human beings should be horsewhipped. And then the last aspect of this spell, which is cool, is that it lets you breathe underwater unlimited, and you can survive in the vacuum of space. I could walk out an airlock in a spaceship, and I'd be fine. This is a cool spell. Okay, 6th level, Telepathy. allow me to speak telepathically with anything that has a mind. Now you're probably asking, why are you doing this when you already have tongues? Well, telepathy is better than tongues because it speaks to anything. I talk to my cats, whatever they have to say. But I would want both because tongues lets me comprehend languages, which means I could read them. Telepathy doesn't let me do that. And more importantly, when I'm dealing with people in everyday life, if I start using telepathy, they're going to freak out. So the ability to talk is cool. The ability to use telepathy under certain circumstances is very important because it's silent communication that no one can spy on. And it allows me to communicate with things that don't have a language, but they do have minds. So very powerful, very cool, silent communication. That's just awesome. Better than hand signs in tactical situations, you know what I mean? 7, greater scrying. So damn cool. Oh, little cat hair. Awesome. So damn cool. You can look at any spot in the world if you have a target to look at. So if you know who you're trying to scry on, and it's in the modern era, that's not hard to do. You look at someone's video, a picture, and you could scry on their location. And if you have a physical piece of them, I mean, if you have an object of that person touched or created or a part of them, it makes scrying even easier. Got the handwriting of someone you know, or a autograph, bingo. That's going to make scrying almost a guarantee. And why have scrying and arcane eye? Well, again, arcane eye lets you look around. You can do recon in a way you can't with scrying. Scrying lets you look at a target if you know who you want to look at, whereas arcane eye just lets you look around. You could then find a target to look at later if you're doing some kind of espionage work. 8th level, mind blank. Now, if you have these spells, magic works in the world. And if magic works in the world, I immediately declare that I'm a 1st level wizard and start working towards the top tier discovery. I think it's at 18th or 19th level, which is immortality. I want to be immortal. So there's no way I'm not going to eventually go to Galarian, the Pathfinder world, to explore an adventure. There just isn't. If I have these spells and I'm a wizard, I'm going to go exploring. And I'll have a really big curve in my favor as a low-level wizard with these spells available. And that means I want to be protected. And Mind Blank not only protects me from being spied upon and scryed upon and read my mind and things like that, but it also gives me a bonus against mental spells. So Mind Blank is a very powerful spell, very useful, particularly if you're in a world of magic, which is where I would eventually go to, though it might take me a few years to research enough spells to get me from this world to that. But with these spells, I will have that ability to be very wealthy. And last, the spell, 9th level, one of my favorite spells from all the way back in 1978 when I first started playing this game, and it is still one of my favorite spells, even though the Pathfinder version has been nerfed slightly, and that spell is Shape Change. You can do so much with Shape Change. Every round you can adopt a new form. Have a desire to rob a bank? Whoop! Perfect disguise. You can make yourself look like the President of the United States. Turn yourself into a dragon, a giant. Is there an animal that you really feel a great deal of affection for, that you consider to be your spiritual connection to that animal? You can become that animal. My ex would probably choose a wolf. Me, I'd choose a big-ass bear. I've always wanted to be a big-ass bear. Being a grizzly bear would be awesome. And now, I can be a grizzly bear whenever I darn well please. I can become a big cat just to watch what my cats do. Become a tiger and just purr at them. Or actually, not purr at them, because they can't purr. But just like walk up and snuggle with them and see if they react badly. Or do they just accept the giant cat? Yeah, tigers can't purr. So, shape change is so powerful. You have beasts and monsters, you have plant forms, you have undead corporeal forms you can choose. Want a Halloween costume? Zombie. you'll win the contest. Want to go to a cosplay convention, walk up on stage just like this, have people look at you like, what are you? And go, I introduced you to the Skrull. And then change into a Skrull on stage, live. They're going to think it's a weird, they're going to think it's the greatest costume in the history of the world, and they're not going to think that this guy actually has a magic spell on him. That would be awesome. So there's so much you can do with this spell. Not to mention, with all these spells that I've chosen, I'm going to become very good at acquiring a whole lot of money in a very short period of time. And no, I wouldn't go after people, ordinary people. But institutions? Oh yes, the corporatists out there are going to fear the existence of me. They are not going to like that at all. Have myself a numbered Swiss account with a whole lot of money in it. But these are the spells I would choose. Now, essentially, you are becoming a superhero with a collection of eclectic spells. Yes, there's not a theme. Most superheroes have some kind of a theme. There's no theme here. The theme is utility. For example, I didn't pick any spells that just boosted a stat. I could have done that, gotten a +4 to my intelligence, for example, and that's cool. But that's a one and done. It's useful, and it sustains you in some ways, but these are things that do other stuff other than just a stat increase. Man, let's face it, the bonus to intelligence is nice if you want to learn a language. But I've got tongues. I've got all languages. I have telepathy. I can speak to anything that's got a mind. So that's covered right there. Just imagine how useful you would be as a first level wizard with this selection of spells. Just like, hey, I'd like to join your party, and I think I could be really useful to you. Admittedly, you are going to end up becoming the leader of the group in no time at all, and the rest of the people, they're going to be your support team. And that's unfortunate for them, but it also means they're going to get a lot of money and stay alive. So in long term, the ones that can like shelve their ego a bit are going to appreciate the fact that you're doing all the heavy lifting. But you would definitely become the hero center stage of your story. Because you would be heroic. Wouldn't that be awesome? Just to be a cool fantasy-themed hero? Here you go. I'm offering you the chance to become any kind of hero you want with any selection of spells within the definitions that I have established of them requiring to have a duration. So, let's talk about what are your spells. Use the Pathfinder spell list. I will, if I remember, I will link to the Pathfinder SRD, which is now not kept on Paizo's page any longer, because they are switching over to Pathfinder 2, which at the moment I have, and I actually have no interest in the Pathfinder 2, and I don't plan on switching at all. I just don't need it. I don't need to learn a new set of rules again. A new version of it, a set of rules I already know. I don't want to go to the new version. Sorry, I just don't feel like it. So there's a good version of it out there, and I'll link to that, so you can go look at it. It's very user friendly, and you can look at the spells as all or as in spell lists for particular classes, which is what I did already. And I also have an app on here on my phone. Let me see if I can remember what it did. Masterwork Tools Pathfinder. That's what the name of the app is. And it comes up with the lovely little list of things, and we're going to go to spells. Focus. There we go. There's a lot of lists, a lot of spell classes in there. I mean, the spell exist. Like Adept, Alchemist, Anti-Paladin, Arcanist, Bard, Blood Rager, Cleric, Druid, Elementalist Wizard, Hunter, Inquisitor, Investigator, Magus, Medium, Mesmerist, Occultist, Oracle, Paladin, Psychic, Ranger, Shaman, Skald, Sorcerer, Spiritualist, Summoner, Warpriest, Witch, Wizard, and Mythic spells. And I didn't choose any Mythic spells because I'm not really in love with the whole Mythic Pathfinder idea. I know, that's too much for me. Okay, so let's talk about magic spells, because we can, and I'm getting a horse now. I could become a horse, though it's shape changer. Nice tie-in. I ended that with a nice little flair.